Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber1 News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Good Friday morning to you. It's the 25th of September. Hard to believe. Next week, I'm going to have to try to find an anniversary present. No, good morning to you, Spencer. How you doing, bud?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I got to check these calendars because the first of the month is going to be Steph and I's 9th anniversary, I think.
Wow.
And so I got to figure out what that means. 9 years.
That's the aluminum? Is it plastic?
Aluminum.
Is
plastic.
It...
I think it's the leave me alone for the day.
Yeah, really.
Is that the?
That's when the spouse says,
and
best
I don't know
present ever.
I don't know when I don't know what the modern equivalent is, but I think that's what it is for the 9th anniversary.
Oh man,
that'll be a lot of fun. Today on the show, Dr. Alex Apostle, on the heels of that major announcement that he's retiring at the end of this school year, plus some conversations that he's going to be having with the other superintendents in Mason County about possibly looking closer to reopening the schools in the county. Also today, Don Myers and Karin Leaf this is going to be a fun one. Don Myers has put the effort and push out to bring a bowling alley back to Shelton. And so we're going to talk about Skeeter's Bowling Center, likely to be coming to Shelton here, hopefully in the next year or so. It is a big lift, of course, to bring a bowling alley. But Dawn is ready to go. She is passionate about our community. And so I'm super excited to learn more about that. Also, more local news information to start your day. How's the weather looking into the weekend?
Well, it's pouring rain right now, and that's going to diminish by the afternoon. And more rain tomorrow, showers mainly. And then Sunday, it's a whole new world. It's going to be sunny, mostly sunny for the next week. And actually, temperatures getting pretty comfortable next week, upper 70s and low 80s.
Nice. It's been amazing to see how quickly my grass has gone back from brown to green with just these last couple of days of rain.
Absolutely. It's nice out there.
Yeah, you see those signs? My lawn's not dead. It's just sleeping. And sure enough. Mason County Public Health notified of 8 additional residents testing positive for COVID-19, bringing the total to 415 since March. Case investigations and contact tracing continues, and please do what you can to help reduce the spread of COVID in our community.
Governor Jay Inslee's office has said the state is among those being targeted by a large-scale, highly sophisticated, nationwide phishing campaign. I'm not talking about the kind off the docks or in the area in the South Sound. This is the bad kind. At a press conference yesterday, Inslee said that the state is taking proactive measures to protect state systems, but he said that no ransomware activity has occurred among the agencies targeted, and no state services have been impacted. The office said one indicator in the current phishing campaign is that the sender's email address doesn't match the person supposedly sending the email. Inslee announced that he was activating the state's Emergency Operations Center and the National Guard's cybersecurity team.
I've noticed in the last couple of days that there has been an uptick in emails that are clearly phishing attempts. So please, folks, don't click on any email that looks to be suspect. Even it's a gut feeling, if it's a financial institution of yours, don't click on anything. Call them and talk with them. They will it's very rare that they, almost probably never actually, that they would reach out and ask for personal sensitive information or offer, gift cards in lieu of this or that. These are professional financial organizations or anything really. So please just don't click on that stuff. Call whoever looks to have sent that email.
Oh, yeah. And these billion-dollar companies are not going to have emails riddled with bad grammar, misspellings. And if it says like Wells Fargo at gmail.com, that's not right. They're not going to have an email address like that.
I was just going to say that. There is no Wells Fargo at gmail.com. Pretty sure they would have a wellsfargo.com email address. So those are big tells right there. The debate is next week. Is that what's coming up?
Yeah, it looks like the 29th, first presidential debate at Case
This will be interesting. I haven't heard a lot about people getting ready. Well, the president or Vice President Biden doing a lot of debate prep.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
And most people don't seem to know it's coming up. It's just kind of obviously a weird year that's been thrown off. But people are like, what? There's a debate next week? Yep.
Yeah. I'm excited just to see and listen to how they put it on during the pandemic.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Sometimes there's crowds, or I think one of the ones is going to be a town hall. That might be the second presidential back in October 15th, but how they do those town halls and stuff like that. So next week is the first of 4 presidential and vice presidential debates that we're going to have on the radio with ABC News. Coverage begins at 5. The debate is at 6, but there's going to be a lot, of course, opportunity for ABC News anchors to talk about that. So it's must-listen to radio. We do have some commercial opportunities available. You can call Rod or email rod at ifiber1.com for more details.
Well, nominations are open for a few more days at the Chamber for their annual awards. These aim to recognize the businesses and individuals in recognition of their accomplishments during the calendar year. Those nominations are open until September 30th, coming up here at 5 p.m. The community is invited to make nominations for Business of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Boss of the Year, Citizen of the Year, and Community Supporter of the Year. And you can find those at masonchamber.com.
Seahawks upcoming this weekend, and they're presented by Shelton Health and Rehab, Riviera's Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. In addition to the Seahawks, we've got great programming from Westwood One and NFL. We're going to be starting off our Cougar football weekend tomorrow as well. That's going to be 2 shows back-to-back. One is a Cougar-focused show for a few hours, and the other is going to be a red zone style whip around the country looking at the plays that are making impacts in the games that are happening. Great show today. Again, we've got Dr. Alex Apostle, and we'll learn about possibly a new bowling alley coming to Shelton coming up on Daybreak.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Friday now, and we have on the phone line Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. Morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I was listening in on that school board meeting this week, and, well, you made quite the announcement.
Yes, I did. And it was a difficult decision and a difficult announcement to make because I love my work. I love where I am. I love the people in Shelton and the staff that I work with. And, we're doing some good things because we've got good people, and it's hard to make the decision to leave it. But like most things, everything comes to an end at a certain point.
I was listening, and we played some of the audio on the show, kind of as you going through your checklist of accomplishments in the last 5.5 and what will be 6 years at the end of your time, and some pretty impressive metrics there. You had a lot of levies passed, that big bond that was passed, all sorts of new construction all across the district. And you made mention, too, about keeping the staff accountable for their professionalism and their desires to educate the youth. And it's when I hear folks talk in the community, that's one thing that they talk about, is that you are looking to make sure that the folks who are teaching in the district, they want to be there. They're not there for summers off. Is that where you've come to your place as superintendent on instructing folks? That's kind of that's what you tell folks?
Well, I will say this, Jeff, that we're in the business of doing the very best for young people, and we have to have great people in the classroom as principals, assistant principals, people at the district office. To be quite honest, we hold people accountable, and I take great pride in that. Not only in the time that I've been here in Shelton, but throughout my career as a principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent in other places. Nothing happens unless you have the right people in the right place. And quite frankly, we've established some very high standards of performance for our people in Shelton and other places that I've been in leadership positions. And if you've got to have a high standard and a high expectation of everyone, or everything that you're talking about doing will not be happening. And I can honestly say that we have done that in Shelton.
This retirement comes at the end of the school year, so we have many, many months until we get to that point, and we'll talk more about this. I'd like to even take a longer time, perhaps, and have a good conversation with you on the air. But some of the other things that are more important to the current COVID crisis that we're facing, in the meeting, you talked with the upcoming meeting that will be later today with the other superintendents throughout the district in Mason County, the other districts here, as we're looking at a reopening plan. And you and I have been going back and forth on this, whether or not it's getting closer and closer. And it sounds to me like from the superintendent of public instruction down, these conversations are being had.
Oh, absolutely. And we want to be preemptive in Mason County. And one of the things I mentioned to my colleagues is that, coming together and having a comprehensive and consistent plan as far as how we're going to reopen schools is going to be very important. And they were pretty excited about getting together and coming up with a plan. We don't want to spend a great deal of time developing the plan, because we know what it's going to take to reopen schools. We've been through quite a bit. And in our meeting later today, what we want to do is put the plan together. And we're all thinking we're going to start off with our younger kids, just like they are in some of the districts around the state of Washington and around the country. I know parents are going through a tremendous challenge with their younger children. And we want to try to alleviate that within reason, within what's happening in relation to the COVID-19 situation. The health and safety of our staff and our kids and families is still going to continue to be of paramount, paramount importance. So any plan we put together will take into consideration the COVID-19 parameters. So, but we're going to move forward, and if COVID continues to improve in Mason County, we expect to have a plan ready to go very, very soon as far as bringing our younger children into our schools.
Now, when it comes to this, the overall instruction in the Shelton School District, some of the reports out at the board meeting this week were that Superintendent of Public Instruction, while may not have singled you out specifically, your model of one vehicle of education, one platform across the district appears to be a working model. In my neighborhood here, we have, many kids, let's say 6 families in our neighborhood. And within those 6 families, there are 3 or 4 different educational plans.
Yeah.
And that's within one neighborhood. So these parents, like you said, have across the other districts are making had to make some big choices on how their students are going to get the education. And it seems to me like hearing those report outs from the different board members at the meeting that your model sticking with K-12 or at least one singular mode is the way to go.
Yes, and that's what Superintendent Reichdahl indicated, that some places within the state and across the country have maybe, multiple instructional platforms along with individual teacher approaches to the instructional program, which has become very challenging for parents and families and for students. The K-12 is not perfect, and we're continuing to work on improving things in terms of providing additional training for staff and for families and for kids. It's not perfect by any means, but right now that's our focus. And I can't even imagine if we had 2 or 3 different platforms, what the situation would be like. So we're trying to improve K-12, and I'm not saying that, everybody is happy, because they're not, obviously.
Sure.
But we're working hard to make things better. And I think as we bring our kids back to school, and we'll still offer online learning for those that want it, but I think once we start bringing kids back to school and in kind of a hybrid model, basically, I think people will have different options and feel better about our approach.
The other thing, too, was the enrollment numbers for the district. And I know over the years when you and the team are there planning and planning out the next year and budgeting and things like that, you have consistently had a conservative count on the number of kids, but it seems as though those numbers, you're moving well past those.
Well, I'm very happy to report that we're almost 100 students above projection. And again, Superintendent Reichdahl and every educator in Washington State knows, and across the country, that school districts are not hitting their projected enrollment. So I feel very fortunate the way we have projected the enrollment. We're 100 above our projection, which helps. And it helps in terms of everything that's going on in our district right now. If we can maintain our enrollment, that gives us a fighting chance to deal with some of the people that we've laid off. We can bring back accordingly. And so I'm very happy about that. I'm also very happy the way we deal with our budget. We had a perfect audit from the state auditor during when that was presented during the last board meeting. So we have some good things going on, and I'm hoping that things will get even better as the year progresses.
Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. One thing last on the perhaps reopening or just the gathering of all the supers. So if you guys and gals get together and with also the help of Dr. Stein at the health department, come up with a plan, where does that plan then go? Does it go to the county commissioners or does it go to the state school board?
Well, that's a very good question, Jeff. And I will tell you that in our planning in Shelton, I've been working very closely with the union, and any plan that we discuss, I'm going to be going out to the schools individually with the union leadership to talk about the plans that we're thinking about and to get input from every single staff at every one of our schools. That's going to be real important because our teachers are the ones that are on the front line, and we want to make sure that this time around, as we bring our students back to all of our schools, that we are sharing that plan with teachers, getting input from teachers. I'm also going to put together a parent advisory committee to inform parents at every level what this plan may look like and to get their input. And then, of course, we're going to work closely with our school board. So there's about 3 or 4 steps that we're going to go through to make sure that we have a harmonious reentry into our schools by our students.
Well,
the last thing I want to do is to develop a plan in isolation and people complaining about it. I don't want that. And so we're going to spend a lot of time, not a whole bunch of time, but time with people to get their input on the plan.
Well, it certainly is an attractive proposal to get the kids back in the schools, and everybody is looking forward to that as they see the numbers. But then, too, I guess at the same time, across the collegiate landscape, those schools have been really facing some big COVID numbers as they bring people back, and then they say, wait, now they have to go home. So it's
right.
It looks good and it sounds good to have the kids back in the classroom, and hopefully with this good planning and the numbers on the downward trend that we're able to get there.
Well, that's true, Jeff. And, there's always a chance where we start bringing kids back and then we run into some challenges as far as COVID is concerned. But if that were to take place, we're prepared to go back full time online. We don't want that to happen, but it could happen. So we'll be keeping in touch, I'm sure, Jeff, in terms of the plan and how things are going.
Sounds good. Dr. Apostle, good to talk with you, and have a good weekend, and we'll check in next week.
Thank you. Always good to talk with you, Jeff. Take care.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show. We're going to have a real fun conversation right now. I got two great guests via Zoom video conference, Don Myers, Karin Leaf. How you both doing, first and foremost?
Doing good. Doing very good. How about you?
I am well, and I am, as the topic unfolds here this morning, I am reminded of a Saturday morning show I was doing at KMAS in 2008. The phone starts ringing, and I wonder, first things first, what did I say? Because now the phone's ringing. So I answer the phone. I pick up the phone. Jeffrey, there's a lot of smoke coming near the location of the bowling alley. And I go, really? Oh, my gosh, I better do something about this information. So, I do whatever I need to do, call the fire department, try to get some more information, non-emergency dispatch. Sure enough, the bowling alley's on fire, and that was 12 years ago. Now, we know the Shelton High Climber bowling team have just been great within that time, but they don't have a home bowling. Their home bowling alley is West Side Lanes in Thurston. I mean, people have to travel there. People have to travel up to Highjoy in Port Orchard, over to Tacoma across the bridge, and it's just not convenient. And a bowling alley in a small community is like, you got to. Well, that's why we bring in Don Myers. How you doing, Don? And this is a project that is months in the making, but it is well on the path. Is that right?
That's right. It's definitely something that we need here in the community. I'm very passionate about. I believe that we can affect a lot of people's lives here in Shelton. I mean, how many people have memories of going back to the Timber Bowl? And I want to be that person that provides the SHS teams someplace to bowl, someplace to practice.
It only makes a lot of sense as you kind of look at the makeup of Shelton, a rural, tight-knit community that often would, like you mentioned in the past, gather together on leagues Tuesday, Thursday, family night on Fridays. Everybody comes Saturdays. The games are on the weekends as well, and the TVs. It's just a gathering space. And you talk to 100 people in town, and 98 of them will say this is a big need, and we're looking to get it filled. So you tell me the beginning of February or so is when the light bulb came on. Is that right?
Yeah. We went bowling out in Highjoy on February 8th. Take my husband bowling. And on the way home, I mentioned to him, I'm like, Shelton needs a bowling alley. And he green-lighted me. And sure enough, that night I started working on business plans, started looking at what I needed to do to get registered. By the 27th, I was registered with the state. And I didn't tell the family the name of the bowling alley because it meant a lot. We picked Skeeter's. Skeeter's, we wanted to do the Pacific Northwest theme, and Skeeter was my brother who passed away out at Mason Lake. So there's a lot of meaning behind that. And then by March 11th, we submitted for a grant, and we received it through the EDC, and the EDC was phenomenal. It really, I presented this idea to Karin, and they supported it from the very beginning.
Karin, this is kind of right in the EDC's bailiwick here. Helping community, starting small business, giving the resources and the needs and information to start something from the ground up. Talk to me a little bit about the process when Don first came to you, and then what you were able to do, you and Jennifer were able to do to help this along in your aspects.
Yeah, when Don reached out, I've known Don for quite some time, but it was through the RDI. I believe that we got to really know each other. And then she pitched the idea. And then when she spoke about the name, I was 210% in. Mm-hmm. I brought that to Jennifer. Jennifer, went through the USDA grants This one was a rural business development grant, and we were right in that window of application of them accepting applications. And it's a process. It is. And God bless Dawn, because she was, calling, texting, oh my gosh, is this even going to happen? Because we were in the middle of COVID explosion. And I thought, oh my God, now I know how Jennifer feels. Like Dawn is on it. And I would say, okay, well, we need to complete this application. And, this is what you and Mark need to do. And I thought it would be 2 weeks out, and she would call me Monday morning and say, look at your inbox, you've got it. And I mean, she is on it. If anybody can get this done, it's Dawn and Mark Myers. We
have got, of course, now 4 fill the trucks that Dawn and her close friends have spearheaded, that have raised countless amounts of funds, including the most recent one that was just a few weekends back. So we are familiar with when Dawn grabs a hold of an idea, that she will see it through fruition. So now you've gotten the help from the EDC. We're talking about it now here on the air. What's the next step for the community to show support with this? Obviously, there's a lot of financial portions to this to get the first, piece of dirt turned and the first pin set. But what now can we in the community, and really the broader community that will access this? It's not just Shelton, it's not just Mason County, but this would be a great draw. Similarly to MCRA, similarly to Shelton Youth Soccer. I mean, this is another key point in 101. If you're driving around right there, Shelton is a good spot to stop for this bowling alley.
Well, I still have some more paperwork to complete first, because I have to register with the state in order to, because it's a security interest. And so we need to protect the investors, and the state needs to approve it.
Okay.
So we still need to do that before we completely go to the community. But the whole project can be between, $5 and $6 million.
Okay.
I spoke with the bank, and I need at least 20% down. I don't have a million sitting around. I don't.
Yes, me too. I don't know.
I don't either. So just as long as we get that out front.
So there is some more work I need to do before I can actually go to the community, but I definitely need community support on this one. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, because I don't have the money to invest myself. However, I do have the education, the business background, and I like to see things through, and I love to help the community and give more stuff to do. I mean, you look around Mason County, hands down, we live in a wonderful place. There's hiking, biking, swimming, boating, there's shellfish, there's a movie theater, there's the park downtown. There's so much to do here when it's not dark and it's not raining.
Exactly.
But we really need stuff to do on the dark nights, and we really don't have a place for birthday parties where there's an activity. So
that's a good point too. Yeah.
The one thing that the Skeeter's Bowling Center, what we plan on doing is 16 lanes, food service, an arcade and lounge, and 2 birthday party rooms that people can reserve, whether for a birthday party or for meetings to happen, because nonprofit meeting room, those are sometimes hard to come by too. So things keep me up at night thinking about this. Like, I literally don't sleep.
She doesn't.
I don't, because I'm emailing you at like midnight.
My phone goes ding. It is going to take community support, and Dawn's getting that. Dawn's getting a great deal of that, and we have individuals like Rick Haas, who has really jumped in, 200%, walking her through, the processes that she needs to do, all the legalities that need to be put in place. But some of the folks that did the majority of the fundraising for the YMCA, have reached out to Dawn, and they're meeting with her, and we're going to sit down and tackle it. If our community can raise the money that they did for the YMCA, we can do this for Skeeter's family bowling Absolutely.
So you'll have opportunities then. Somebody pitches in $100 or so. They may get a name or a plaque, or there's going to be those types of options for folks to show their support on these types of things.
I want a community appreciation wall.
Yeah,
I'm working on that. It's weird the way, because I'm a for-profit business, where it's a little easier to give money to a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
The state really restricts you as to who can give you money. So that's the part I'm working through right now, because you have to have accredited investors. But if you do pre-sales per se and advertising, I'm still working through that. But
she's got some great things in her framework. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I know it's going to happen. I really look forward to the day that I can take my granddaughters bowling. Well,
I'm looking forward to the day that I could call a high climber bowling game from up there. That would be
so cool.
Check that off my bucket list. I tell you what, that'd be awesome. So this is starting to move. Of course, a 16 lane bowling alley is going to be a large process to get to, but it is on the path, and you will still continue to hear more and more and more about Skeeters as it moves forward. And at key points throughout the process here, Dawn, let's get you back on to update people and remind folks. And then if we have to get down the road anywhere where we're asking us to contact our state legislators for more support or things like that, we'll definitely make sure all that gets out on the air. Okay?
Sounds good.
This was fun. I'm glad you and Karin and Jennifer were able to work hard on this with the EDC portion. Of course, they're always doing a lot in the community for business, and it's great to see a small business from the thought process through to where we're at right now. So Dawn Myers is looking to bring bowling back to Shelton in the form of Skeeter's family lanes. It's going to be a great time in Shelton, and I can't wait to see that when it comes through. Dawn, Karin, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. This rain we had brought the rivers all up and most are punched out, but they should be dropping back into shape by, I'd say, early next week. Expect some excellent salmon fishing on the hump tulips. The kings were pretty thick before the rain hit. I expect a good push of coho came in with this rain. The Queets River has also been putting out some good coho before the rain hit. I expect it to be loaded next week. Twitching jigs, pulling plugs, bobbers and eggs, throwing hardware, all of it's going to work. I personally like the twitch jig effect just because it's not as messy as throwing bait. Another fun option, if you're into hunting, is muzzleloader deer season opens this Saturday in most units. It should be some really good weather on Saturday and Sunday for deer hunting. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at ifiber1.com, and don't forget my site, kramertackleandguide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.